Drag her up! I'm tripping over stuff here. Drag her up! Junk. Oh, there's a lot of brass in that gate valve. What are we doing? Working here all day in the dungeon. All I got is one little window. Putting in the electric boiler, big boiler. Got my fittings soldered up. Got my lead. Got my supports that I just built. The floor flanges welded to a piece of iron pipe. Welded a muffler clamp on top. All that was holding this before was a piece of wood and a piece of pipe. Just this thing was balancing, but I'm going to Tapcon that to the concrete. Same thing on this side. My pastry shorts, I welded on 1.25 inches. And the floor flange is too big, so I welded it. Whatever, it's good enough. Pulled these pipes up, and now I'm cutting because I'm going to have this boiler exit here. I've soldered this up. I got this far. Hot water is going to enter the bottom of the boiler through here and come back up through the return side with a shut-off valve right there. Shut off. Cold water comes back in here, and I did 2 of them like that. You got to keep your basement warm. If you disconnect the boiler, that heats up the basement. This big cast iron inefficient lump, and you'll have a freezing cold basement. And I can't think of anything that's good about that. So instead of my cold water returning here via these 2 vacuum pumps and going into the cold side of the boiler, I got a shut-off valve right there on the floor. Cold water returns to the electric boiler, exits the top. I got some bypass valves here. Hot. Comes back, exits electric boiler, comes this way. Remember, this doesn't exist here. It's like a road that doesn't go through, like Cavendish Boulevard. Cold, the heated water from that electric boiler, the heated water comes down here, enters the non-functioning, well, it works, but it's not turned on, oil boiler, and exits just the old way. So all I'm really doing with this is just running 2 pipes. Cold return, hot supply. And I've got some zones here, and I got some bypasses, and I got valves everywhere, and let's crank this baby up. Crank her up. Yep, she's still hooked up. If they run out of electric power or whatever the deal is, I can always just turn the oil on and I flip this valve there. Whoop, flip that one. Flip this one. And close those 2. And they are on oil hot water. Just as simple as that. Isn't that sweet? Open, open, and close. And I close the bypass, or I open the bypass, or I forget what I did here. I got 2 zones here. I got a Takeo 2-zone switching relay installed January 5th, 2011. The time sure flies when you're having fun. Oil. Who can afford expensive oil? You got to pay the oil company to fill up that big tank, 250 gallons. Could hold 275, but you leave an airspace. 250 gallons times $4 a gallon sounds like $1,000. It's a bit cheaper, maybe $379, $349, but still $900 to fill the oil tank. Whereas with electricity, you just pay the bill after you've used it. So it still costs the same amount, more or less, kind of, sort of. That's what I'm doing. Got all my supplies. Everything is here. My big adjustable wrench, which is not big enough to do the job. I don't have my pipe wrenches here, so I wanted to change that fitting, but I couldn't. Yeah, it was just slipping on the flats. I needed my pipe wrench, but I'll just leave it. I'll shine it up. I resoldered it. Hopefully it won't leak. That's what I'm doing today. Every day is a new day. Every day is like an orange. You got to squeeze it and get the most out of it that you can. I've got to disconnect that oil line. The T right there. We don't need the T anymore because there's no more oil hot water. Looks like fun, huh? Looks like fun. PRC, People's Republic of China. I learned that from a guy at Grass Lake. I'm thinking California. I thought he was in Grass Valley, but that's north of Sacramento, I think. Like my junkyard? Boy, have I got junk. I never throw anything away. Never know, you may need it. Working in the dungeon. Just call me the CORVAIRWILD in the cellar.